Who is? Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, is anybody online? The camera doesn't have to be turned, right? Atla alai unte saripothundi kada. Yeah, it's okay. That's important. Why people want to see insects? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Radhiguru Prabhu, you have any favorite verse? Any bhajan you want to sing today? If you want. Okay, that's your favorite. Oh. Thank you. Okay, thank you. It's been a while since I sang this song. Page 61. 61. ఓం అజ్ఞానతిమిరంధస్య జ్ఞానాంజనశలాకయా చక్షురున్మిలితం యేన తస్మై శ్రీగురవే నమః. మీరు పాడతారా? You can, sure? Okay. I can give you that. Actually, we can do the translation. Hariguru Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. No, it's very small. You can do all. Yeah, maybe 2 paras each, Prabhuji.
Okay, 11 or 12.
8 unnai kada? Yeah, he can do like 3. So 3 into 3, 9 varaku ayipothundi.
Shuddha Bhakta Charana Renu, dust from the pure devotee's lotus feet from Sharanagati. The dust from the lotus feet of pure devotees give rise to devotional service, and service to the devotee is itself the supreme perfection and the root of the tender creeper of divine love. With great care, I observe holy days like Ekadashi and Janmashtami, for they are the mother of devotion. And with the greatest reverence and love, I choose as my dwelling place the transcendental abode of Sri Krishna. In the company of loving devotees, I will visit all those places where my Lord Gaurasundara travelled and performed his pastimes.
My mind always begs to hear the music of Mridanga, and my heart dances in ecstasy wherever I hear the kind of kirtana established by Lord Gaurachandra. I feel supreme bliss when I behold the deity forms of the divine couple Sri Sri Radha and Krishna, and I conquer all worldly illusions by honoring the Lord's prasadam. 7 and 8.
Okay. Yeah, no, one more.
Okay.
One more and then you can give it.
Okay, 6. Okay. Every day Goloka Vrindavana appears in my home. When I see Lord Hari being worshipped there, my joy knows no bounds when I see the Ganges, a river of nectar emanating from the Lord's lotus feet.
It's difficult for me these days. That's okay. You can give it to Hari Guru. Okay. Oh, page 63.
The sight of the tulsi plant soothes my soul, for I know she gives pleasure to Lord Krishna. I feel that my life has been fulfilled when I honor shaka, a green leafy vegetable preparation that is favorite of Lord Chaitanya's. Whatever Bhaktivinoda obtains that furthers devotional service to Sri Krishna, he accepts every day with the greatest joy.
Thank you very much. And please note in the second stanza, it's not Madhihava. It's not Madhihava Titi, it's Madhava Titi. Yeah, I is actually added there because I was a little confused. So it's just Madhava Titi. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula. Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi Premalati Karamula. Madhavati ti bhakati janani yatane palana kori. Krishna vasati vasati boli parama adare bori. Krishna vasati vasati boli parama adare bori. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajanayānukula. Gaura Amarye Sabasthane Karalo Brahmanarange. Se sabastana heribo ami pranay bhakata sange. Mridanga vadya shunite mana avasara sadayache. Gaura vihita kirtana shuni ananda hridaya nache. Gaura vihita kirtana shuni ananda hridaya nache. Yugala murti dekhiya mora Paramananda Hoya Prasada Seva Karite Haya Sakala Prapancha Jaya Prasada Seva Karite Hoya Sakala Prapancha Jaya Idine Griha Bhajana Dekhi Grihete Goloka Bhaya Charana Sidhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukha Nasima Paya Charana Sidhu Dekhiya Ganga Sukha Nasima Paya Tulasi Dekhi Judaya Prana Madhava Toshani Jani Gaura Priya Shakha Sevane Jivana Sarthakamani Gaura Priya Shakha Sevane Jivana Sarthakamani Bhakati Vinoda Krishna Bhajane Anukula Payayaha Prati divase paramasuke Svikara koro etaha Shuddha bhakata charana renu Bhajanayānukula Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva. Hare Krishna. Sorry, that song was something which I have not practiced in a while. We'll. Would you like to read its Upanishad before we go to Bhagavad Gita, or we just go to Bhagavad Gita and discuss the topic that has been suggested today? We won't read Upanishad verses or any verse of Upanishad. We'll just jump directly, immediately after Upanishad to Gita, if that is one of the concerns. Or you just want to... I think we should do Upanishad. That's fine. Part of that is tied into today's topic, and we can come back later to refer to Upanishad for... we'll just read this. We'll just read the Upanishad. It's for those who want, it's on the pink tab. And... for the sake of time, we'll just keep it just Sanskrit so that we can come back later. Let's all do it together. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Ishavasyam Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tenatyakteena Bhunjita Magridaha Kasya Svidhanam Kurvan Eveha Karmani Jijivichetchatam Samaha Evam Tvai Nanyate Tosti Na Karma Lipyate Nare Asuryanama Te Loka Andhena Tamasavritaha Tamste Pretyabhigachanti Yeke Chatmahano Janaha Anejadekam Manaso Javiyo Naina Deva Apnuvan Purvamarshad Taddavatonyanatyeti Tishtat Tasmin Apo Matarishva Dadati Tare Jati Tannai Jati Taddure Tadvantike Tadantarasya Sarvasya Tadu Sarvasyasya Bahyataha Yastu Sarvani Bhutani Atmanyevanupashyati Sarvabhuteshu Chatmanam Tato na Vijugupsate Yasmin Sarvani Bhutani Atmaiva Bhudvijanataha Tatra ko mohaka shoka Ekatvam anupashyataha Saparyaga chukramakayam avrinam Ashnaviram shuddham apapavidham Kavir manishi paribhu swayambhur यथा तत्यतोर्तान् व्यददच्चाश्वतीभ्यः समाभ्यः अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये विद्याम् उपासते ततो भूया इवाते तमो या उविद्यायामृताः अन्यदेवाहुर्विद्यया अन्यदाहुरविद्यया इति शुश्रुमाधीराणां येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे विद्यां च विद्यां च यस्तद्वेदो भयं सः अविद्यया मृत्युं तीर्त्वा विद्यायामृतमश्नुते अंधं तमः प्रविशन्ति ये सम्भूतिम् उपासते ततो भूया इवाते तमो या सम्भूत्यामृताः अन्यदेवाहुसम्भवाद् अन्यदाहुरसम्भवात् इति शुश्रुमाधीराणां येनस्तद्विचचक्षिरे सम्भूतिं च विनाशं च यस्तद्वेदो भयं सः विनाशेन मृत्युं तीर्त्वा सम्भूत्यामृतमश्नुते हिरण्मयेन पात्रेण सत्यस्यापि हितं मुखं तत्त्वं पूषन् अपावृणु सत्यधर्माय दृश्यते पूषन् एकर्षेयमसूर्यप्रजापत्या व्यूहारश्मिन् समूहा तैजो यत्ते रूपं कल्याणतमं तत्ते पश्यामि योऽसावसौ पुरुषः सोऽहमस्मि वायुरनिलम् अमृतम् अथेदं भस्मान्तं शरीरम् ॐ क्रतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा क्रतो स्मरा कृतं स्मरा अग्नेनया सुपातराय येस्मान् विश्वानि देवा वयुनानि विद्वान् युयुदस्माज्जुहुरान्यमेनो भूयिष्ठां ते नाम उक्तिं विधेम ओम ईशोपनिषत् संपूर्णं हरि ओम. So Tarun ji, can you just turn on the light here? Probably I think somebody else comes also, they can. No, that's a fan. Since today's topic is satisfaction based on spiritual life, and since it's also a Wednesday night Gita class, we need to introduce the topic through Bhagavad Gita. All right, so we turn to page 7, the verse now. Page 694, verse 17-16. Actually, I think since everybody is comfortable with the Sanskrit, we won't go word by word. Rather, we go line by line, if that's okay. And kindly repeat after me. Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samsuddhirityet tapo manasamuchyate manaha prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityet tapo manasamuchyate. Hari Guru Prabhu, please.
Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam
Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam
Maunam atma vinigraha
Maunam atma vinigraha
Bhava samshuddhirityetat
Bhava samshuddhirityetat
Tapo manasamuchyate.
Tapo manasamuchyate. Anybody else wants to try?
Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam
Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam
Maunam atma vinigraha
Maunam atma vinigraha
Bhava samsuddhirityetat
Bhava samshuddhirityetat
Tapo manasamuchyate.
Tapo manasamuchyate.
Manah prasada saumyatvam
Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam
Maunam atma vinigraha
Maunam atma vinigraha
Bhava sanshuddhirityeta
Bhava samshuddhirityetat
Tapo manasa samuchyate.
Tapo manasamuchyate. No, it's okay. No, it's voluntary if you want to only then.
Manah prasada samyatvam
Manaha prasadaha saumyatvam
Maunamatma vinigraha
Maunamatma vinigraha
Bhava samshuddhirityetat
Bhava samshuddhirityetat
Tapomana samuchyate.
Tapo manasamuchyate. Kindly repeat after me. Manaha prasadaha satisfaction of the mind. Saumyatvam being without duplicity towards others. Maunam gravity. Atma of the self. Vinigraha control. Bhava of one's nature. Samshuddhihi purification. Iti thus. Etat this. Tapaha austerity. Manasam of the mind. Uchyate is said to be. And satisfaction kindly repeat after me. And satisfaction, simplicity, gravity, self-control and purification of one's existence are the austerity of the mind. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. To make the mind austere is to detach it from sense gratification. It should be so trained that it can be always thinking of doing good for others. The best training for the mind is gravity in thought. One should not deviate from Krishna consciousness and must always avoid sense gratification. To purify one's nature is to become Krishna conscious. Satisfaction of mind can be obtained only by taking the mind away from the thoughts of sense enjoyment. The more we think of sense enjoyment, the more the mind becomes dissatisfied. In the present age, we unnecessarily engage the mind in so many different ways for sense gratification, and so there is no possibility of minds becoming satisfied. The best course is to divert the mind to Vedic literature, which is full of satisfying stories, as in the Puranas and the Mahabharata. One can take advantage of this knowledge and thus be purified. The mind should be devoid of duplicity, and one should always think of the welfare of all. Silence means that one is always thinking of self-realization. The person in Krishna consciousness observes perfect silence in this sense. Control of the mind means detaching the mind from the sense enjoyment. One should be straightforward in his dealings and thereby purify his existence. All these qualities together constitute the austerity in mental activity. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Militam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Matsamo nasti papatma naparadhi chakaschana parihare pilajjame kim bhruve purushottama bhumau skalitapadanam bhumirevavalambanam Tvai jata paradhanam tvameva sharanam prabhu Govinda vallabhe radhe prarthaye tvamaham sada Tvadiyam iti janatu Govindo mam tvaya saha Radha radhita radhesha Radhika prana vallabha Radha ramana vande tvam Radhika prema nirjita Hare Krishna Narendra. So in this verse, we understand that satisfaction Krishna describes is an austerity. Commonly, the people in this world try to satisfy their minds by trying to get the objects of the attachment or the objects which their mind is attached to. For example, the mind is attached to gaining some position or trying to gain some wealth or relationships or any other means, but that satisfaction of mind is not the true sense of satisfaction. And it's a common knowledge, because if the mind would be happy with whatever the mind wanted to acquire, then there would be no question of dissatisfaction of mind in this world. But we see the stories are full of papers of rich people, people who are wealthy and powerful, yet they are not satisfied, and they are seeking more newer ways to satisfy their unsatisfied mind. Because as Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport, when the mind is engaged in sense gratification, there is no question of having satisfaction. And then how to satisfy this mind? That is the question we can discuss a little bit today. Is Krishna says, and the scriptures also say, that the mind is actually only satisfied by Krishna. Why? Because in the 3rd chapter of Gita, Krishna says that there is the gross matter, and above the gross matter are the objects of senses, are the senses, and then above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. So, of course, soul, when there is a transformation, the soul is transformed into false ego, or it takes the consciousness of false ego. And once you have this false ego, then you think everything in relationship to this body is mine, and thus one is deeply dissatisfied. So the whole purpose of spiritual life is to get satisfaction to the soul. If the soul is satisfied, then automatically the mind is satisfied, the intelligence is satisfied, the senses is satisfied. But what exactly constitutes the satisfaction of soul? That is a great topic of debate in Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned in the first canto, second chapter, Savai pumsam parodharmo yato bhaktir adhokshache ahaituki apratiha atma yayatma suprasidati. Or the satisfaction of the soul is only possible by rendering unalloyed devotional service to Vasudeva or Krishna. So, unless one reaches to that point, then the satisfaction actually eludes him. Even the various yoga systems which are discussed in Bhagavad Gita, until they culminate in total absorption in Krishna, doesn't satisfy the soul. Because the soul's deepest hankering is to be attached and be in loving service to Krishna. In a very unalloyed way, unmotivated way. Because if you see, ISKCON is growing and many devotees are joining, but what is actually the philosophy of ISKCON? Is that philosophy is loving service to Krishna without expecting anything. And that seemed to be counterproductive. For example, you go to a job interview and then you say, well, what's my salary? There is no salary. You have to work very hard day and night, but we won't give you anything. It's a little counterproductive. This is pretty much the same thing here, that you 24 hours serve Krishna, pretty much you don't expect anything. But why is it that many people are joining? Because the soul is happy in such a position. The soul's hankering is to serve Krishna. And when it is directed in that fashion, you don't need anything else. The soul doesn't want anything else. Just the satisfaction of the Lord. We can understand from Gita that there are many paths to Krishna. There is, for those who have read Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that there is Karma Yoga, then there is Jnana Yoga in the 4th chapter, then there is Karma Sannyas Yoga in the 5th chapter, and Dhyana Yoga in the 6th chapter. All these aim to fulfill this one purpose, that is the satisfaction of the soul or mind. Now, Narada says that while these processes are good, the other forms of yogas are good in curbing one's lust and passion, but the ultimate satisfaction is only possible through devotional service. Now, this is one way to address the mind, or to tell the mind, you will be only happy if you serve Krishna. Because our spiritual life is actually a struggle against the mind. Mind wants so many things, and that's applicable to me especially, and I'm not sure about everybody else here, so I don't want to comment. But mind wants to grab so many things of material nature. One way to tell the mind is, mind, you won't be happy. You can grab, you can work hard to get all the things, material you want, but know this for a fact that you'll never be happy. Why? Because you tried to get so many things in the past, you are still dissatisfied today. And what is the guarantee if you get something material, you will be happy? Your only happiness is actually to serve Krishna. So when we tell this mind repeatedly, then mind can say, maybe it's something is there. Let's at least try for some time to serve Krishna without expecting anything and see what is the benefit. That is one way of understanding that, our spiritual endeavor will give us more happiness than being absorbed in matter. Because material happiness, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in the 5th chapter, is flickering. Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavantu kaunteya nateshuramate bhuda. Krishna says that the satisfaction you get from matter is temporary, and it's the source of misery. It has a beginning, it has an end. But the soul is wanting unlimited, unending, and unstoppable happiness. And that is possible only through Bhakti Yoga. Through matter, when the soul wants to get that, the soul doesn't want purely in the spiritual state, the soul has nothing to do with matter. But when the soul is transformed to think I am this matter, then the mind takes over and tries to grab so many things to be happy. But in that state, there is so much of unhappiness, because that is not the soul's natural position. So at least telling the mind that, you know what, don't try to grab. The mind is powerful, there's no doubt about it. Because mind is so powerful that it just drags away a man, even the intelligent man. Krishna says in the second chapter, even the intelligent man of discrimination, mind is so powerful that it can drag away the intelligence. It covers up the discrimination, and the mind just involves in doing illicit activities. Everywhere you see that people who have committed crimes or who are into so many other habits, they see that there is a force that is pulling them. They don't want to do it, but there is a force that is pulling them. And the best way is to actually, through the process of Bhakti Yoga, tell the mind, don't try to doing it. There is the other aspect to control the mind or to get the satisfaction of the soul. That is something called destiny, fate, karma, whatever you want to call it. There are different ways. But the thing is, Bhagavatam says that the happiness or the distress of a soul in the material sense is already fixed. He says in the first canto, 5th chapter, Narada says, we can look up in the shloka book if you want to. I don't have it, but... First canto, 5th chapter, and the shloka number is, I don't know, we can look it up. It's on page 172, 1518. You can repeat after me. It's a nice prayer to repeat. तस्यैव हेतो प्रयते तको विदो न लभ्यते यद्भ्रमतामुपार्यदः ताल्लभ्यते दुःखवदन्यतः सुखम् कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररंहसा तस्यैव हेतो प्रयतेत कोविदो न लभ्यते यद्भ्रमतामुपार्यदा तल्लभ्यते दुःखवद् अन्यतः सुखम् कालेन सर्वत्र गभीररंहसा. Translation: persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet Brahmaloka down to the lowest planet Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in the course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries even though we do not desire them. So that is another way to actually see or to understand that one's endeavor, when it is performed in the material path, the results are kind of fixed. One may work hard to obtain stuff, but Bhagavatam says that don't endeavor for something which is already predetermined, which is material happiness. Why do you even worry about that? Because nobody actually seeks out miseries. Nobody starts with a business saying that in 2 years I'll be bankrupt. That's my goal. Or nobody starts with the morning saying, today I will meet an accident. Or nobody says with the goal, by 50 I'll die of cancer. Very painful death. Nobody thinks like that. Everybody wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to be happy. Everybody wants their business to prosper. And everybody wants to kind of grow. That is the nature of this world. But the fact is that whatever is our happiness, that is as much fixed as our miseries, because the Bhagavatam says you don't try for miseries, yet you get it. Nobody wants to be miserable, yet they are faced with it. So Bhagavatam says the automatic number is also true. The happiness which you are destined, you will get it. And if you see the stories, they are fully attested to that. There are cases where people, they had absolutely no signs that they will be successful, became an overnight sensations. And people who were not destined to fail, they failed. From the outer perspective, a man had everything for success, yet he couldn't be successful. And there was this person whom he had written off completely as a total failure, he became successful. The idea is that there is something called destiny or force of Krishna at play that interferes with our lives. That kind of puts a brakes on our plan or gives a push or keeps us status quo. So when things are there which are beyond our control, why try for it? Bhagavatam says, why not try for something spiritual, some spiritual happiness which you cannot obtain in this world. So our goal is something which is completely beyond what that can be achieved by rotating around in this world. Because Bhagavad Gita says that you perform sacrifices to demigods, you perform Vedic rituals, then you will go to the heavenly planets. But when the pious credits are destroyed, then you will come back again. So this cycle goes on again. And one who is very sinful, he is pushed to the lower planets. So this distress and happiness of the material world, it keeps on going and it's temporary. Bhagavatam says, don't be too much worried about it. Just take shelter of Krishna, then all these things become pale in significance to what is the happiness that is awaiting the soul when it is in love with Krishna. When there is Krishna prema which is there in the heart, everything pales. Actually, Srila Rupa Goswami gives in the Nectar of Devotion that there are 3 kinds of happiness. Happiness from sense gratification, which is there. Please trust me. We shouldn't discount sense gratification just like that. Oh, sense gratification. Excuse me, everybody is doing sense gratification. It is just using the sense gratification to keep our body and mind healthy. So there is some happiness in sense gratification. It is temporary, it is fleeting, and it's a cause of bondage. But there is there. Otherwise, why would people work for it? If everybody knows that there is no happiness in the world, everybody will start committing suicide by jumping off Golden Gate Bridge or doing whatever. But there is some happiness, and that's that hope that people keep working hard. There is some way I'll get that happiness somewhere. I'll get this happiness, I'll work hard, do something, marry, have children, whatever I'll do, I'll keep myself happy. And there is that ray of hope in this material world that drives the people, and there is some happiness. Very little. Rupa Goswami says that is from sense gratification. It is there, but not much. Don't try for it. The next level of happiness is happiness from Brahman realization. This Brahman realization is that the yogis give up all sorts of material detachment. They perform breathing exercises. They try to see Krishna as the Brahman, infinitesimal, all-pervading light. And if you perform these, you get some peace and happiness, which is more or less a lack of material miseries. In this world, when you are not harassed by anything, then people say, I am happy. That is the definition of happiness, standard definition of happiness. How are you doing? I'm great. I'm not sick. I have no financial problems. I have no family problems. Essentially, what you are saying is, because you don't have any problems, you are happy. But, right? Yeah, if you ask somebody, if there is even slightest discrepancy, I'm not feeling good. Why? Somebody says I have a cold, my son has ran away with my maids or or my business is ruined. Basically, when there are troubles, then you say I'm not good. Essentially, in material world, happiness is lack of troubles. So that lack of troubles is what is Brahman realization, more or less. There is some element of being situated on the spirit self, but essentially Brahman realization is that. But Rupa Goswami says that you take the happiness which is derived by Brahman realization and multiply it 1 trillion times. Then multiply it again by 1 trillion times. That's a lot of zeros right there. I don't know. I can't fathom. Anyways, there are a lot of zeros. He says that even after multiply by 1 trillion and 1 trillion times, the happiness which is derived from pure devotional service wouldn't even compare to a fraction of the happiness which is derived by Brahman realization. Because the soul is completely absorbed in Krishna, satisfied by Krishna, just ecstatically in love with Krishna. And that happiness is the highest of all. And that's what Mahaprabhu came, that's what Srila Prabhupada came to give us. Pure, unalloyed, loving service to Krishna. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or Nectar of Devotion, it's a whole science, the complete science of Bhakti Yoga, gives various dynamics on how you get prema, what after that, after prema, what are the different emotions, what are the different symptoms of those emotions, what causes that excitement in the soul, and how that is, how the flow of prema happens between the bhakta and Krishna, and how there is a whole science. It's a big science. It's not some sentimental thing. Oh, I feel something in the heart, that is only prema. No, that's not. Rupa Goswami has analyzed it very, very scientifically. And he has also given that state wherein somebody feels that thing in the heart. He also said, what is that all about? So it is there in Nectar of Devotion. If you want to read. It is there. Rupa Goswami says it is shadow. It is something, if you are in association, for example, there is ecstatic kirtan going on in the temple and somebody is come, he's never come or she's never come before, and he's come and he is completely crying and expressing emotions. It is, Rupa Goswami says, it's a shadow. Because of the beauty of the kirtan, it is just being reflected. And then there can be some emotion. So, everything is there in Nectar of Devotion. It's very scientific. So, the satisfaction of the soul only comes from being absorbed in Krishna. And that is the whole purpose of spiritual life. To know who is Krishna, what is our relationship with Him, and how to be established in that relationship. That is the deepest satisfaction of the soul. And any target, any goal which is less than that, our scriptures say may not give you the same level of satisfaction. There will be definitely some happiness and satisfaction, but that's ultimate satisfaction. So, a strong impetus to push oneself on the path of spiritual life, combined with the fact that material life is not very promising for my long-term goal, is those two will actually help one to push to go more and more to understanding our nature of soul and our satisfaction. Because if both are not there, then for the Baddha Jiva, at least the conditioned soul who's pushing along, the mind is very deviating. If yeah, sure, okay, yeah, this prema is good. But then, please educate yourself to know what prema is. How does it come about? What are the steps involved? And then you actually scientifically know what is what. So there is an emotion, there is also the scientific basis of that emotion, and there are clear signs of those emotions. Everything is clearly there. So, yes, Narendra ji.
I want to understand the word this scientific, because science, there are. Hello. The word of science is very misleading here, not. Let me not say misleading, but I'm not understanding. Okay. Because there are, we can say, two types of science. One science is a materialistic science. If material is not involved, there is no science. Okay. The second thing is second science, you can say human science, and which is based on the karmas and etc. And then there is a science there, because otherwise you do that karma, you result into that thing, and that we might be able to drive some formulas and finally come to some conclusion. But in a spiritual world, neither of these two things exist. Where is the science?
Thank you. Narendraji, if you do not mind asking me, what do you do?
I'm an engineer.
Okay. Where do you work? You work?
Intel Corporation.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Suppose, assume that I want to be an engineer. What do? I go to school, then go to primary school, then secondary school, then high school, then college. And in the college, so there are some clear steps there, right? That you have to progress to become an engineer. Then in the college, you actually take a guide and a professor who's going to give you some thesis, and you have to do that thesis under his guidance. And that college is an established place where the knowledge is being disseminated under the authorized bona fide teachers. And once you pass and satisfy them according to their criteria, then you acquire the knowledge, which is scientific knowledge, and you become an engineer. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah.
In spiritual life, when we start from basically no training, no knowledge, no background, and we are just entering into it, then we take shelter of a guru, and that guru gives the knowledge which is passed down from his predecessors, and he guides the disciple. He marks the various progress in the path of the disciple's spiritual development, and then once the disciple has reached certain level, the guru can certify, yes, you are on certain level, but you need to keep continuing. So the science or the process is pretty much the same in both the places.
No, there is a difference.
How?
Finally, you get something in the spiritual life is by the God's grace, and there is no other rule. Even if whatever amount of knowledge the gurus can give it to me, finally, one day, one moment, God has to say, yes, His grace has to be there.
Correct.
Otherwise, there is nothing, and that grace is not scientific. It's God's grace is grace.
But there is a process which God recommends. In 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, if God's grace was only needed, God wouldn't say tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshina. Krishna says, go to a teacher, serve him menially, and then question him. And then once you get knowledge from the seers of truth, then you have actually realized. That is God's words. So while you were right about God's grace, Krishna has said that go serve a guru. Seek out a person who can guide you. So it is said in the scriptural injunctions by Srila Prabhupada says that by grace of Guru you get Krishna, and by grace of Krishna you get Guru. It is two are non-different, or they can't be separated. So while the process is the same, wherein you have to actually be obedient and subservient as much as you do in the professor at college, the point here, Narendraji, it is not that scientific and spiritual are exclusive. There is a definite path. If you read Nectar of Devotion, which I highly recommend, you will see that it is a science. It is a science in the sense like it is not completely sentimental or emotional. What happens, the danger of such approach is that one thinks that because I am able to one day out of some emotion, cry before God, I have become prema, I have got prema in me and I have got God's grace. How do you know how the God's grace has come about? Do you have actually God's grace, or are you just thinking I have got?
No. Okay, I think
No. I'm just trying to say is that
I see, I can put my views, but I'm not sure whether they are right or wrong.
Please put it. I mean, like
Okay.
we can.
The God's grace is not scientific. Sometimes, God's grace. People say there is no really logic can be put against the God's grace. There are possibilities and probabilities are existing. So by sadhu sangha, there is a higher probability. We have seen that because of the sadhu sangha, you get God's grace. Okay, Guru's kripa, you get God's grace. These are the kind of a signs. It does not mean God's grace will come. No definite answer for that. God's grace comes by God's grace.
I agree.
There is no rule. That is why it is not a science.
I see what you mean. In that sense, science is not a science.
No.
I'll tell you why. No, I'll tell you why. The science has predicted how the planet has come about. I mean, there was like this, some Big Bang, something happened many billions of years ago, something's happened. It's complete speculation, right? So in that sense, science is not science but pure illusion or fiction. Yes? No. No. Let me complete my thought. I understand where you are coming from when you say that spiritual life is not scientific, as in God's grace is not based on logic or based on conditions. Yes? I completely agree with that. Krishna is called Swarat, who is independent, and his grace can come at the time of his choosing. Whenever he wants. You cannot simply say, I have served 5 years, now Krishna, show me where is your grace. You can't demand God like that. No, we agree with that. We agree with that. Krishna is completely independent and he can choose to bestow his grace whenever he wants to. But the point here is, even to get to that grace, there is a scientific process. There are certain, for example, if you go to a college, you need to read books. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
You can't simply say, I know something, I have a feeling that I get this stuff. No. There is a book, there is a formula, there is stuff you need to master. Same thing here. We have Bhagavad Gita. You have to read some books. You have to listen to God's words to get his grace. Yes or no? Little bit. You can't simply say that I won't do anything. There are certain processes you need to follow. That's my point. There are certain things which God himself recommends, which you get acquainted with and then follow. Then there is a chance. I agree with you that there is a chance you get God's grace.
You may increase your chances.
But then again, when you talk of chance, it becomes science and maths, which God is not subject to.
Let me one or two sentences. I'll see. See, the science is the God's energy is it runs under the perfect rules and regulations, and nobody can break those rules and regulations, and that's God's energy, and that God's energy is not based on chances or probabilities. It is we may not know the rules and regulations. That is why we can say, okay, there are chances and non-chances, but it is a perfect rules and regulations. There is not even a slightest change anybody can make in this world. Okay, and where the bhakti marg is very different. It is God's independence. For example, gopis. Did they read anything? They did anything just by God's grace. They crossed the ocean.
But then we are not on the level of gopis, right?
No, I understand. No, anybody can be level of gopis.
That's my point. My point is, they are already nitya siddhas. Gopis are eternally liberated souls. But I don't know about others, but me, I am a nitya baddha, right? I am a conditioned soul. So I need to follow certain process to come to that level. Yes, no? Follow the instructions of my spiritual master.
Because there is a lot of people are listening to you, and I don't want to waste time. So let us.
Okay, fine. I agree. Let's continue. Probably we can take it offline. But now that we are here on the questions, any other questions or any other comments?
Today's topic is satisfaction of the finding satisfaction in spiritual life. So, do you want to satisfy his?
So you want this to continue further? Let's do. I mean, it's not like that. It's just a exchange of views. Basically, the thing is, Krishna, he gives certain guidelines, because if it was completely whimsical and independent, Krishna wouldn't have spoken Gita. Krishna wouldn't have said anything to anybody. He said, "Yeah, wait for my grace. I'll come whenever I give." But the fact is that he spoke Bhagavad Gita. He said, "Arjuna, do this. Arjuna, do that. Arjuna, do this. Become this. Become that. Follow this path." So many instructions he gave in Gita. He left it as his grace, and which we have to follow.
I 100% agree with you, and I 100% disagree with you. Yeah. This is a topic which I'm not. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
I have one.
Okay. Yeah. Please try. Yeah. Please.
If I am not expert, but I share my comments. So if you agree or disagree. Krishna mentioned this, different yogas, right? Like a karma yoga, dhyana yoga, gnana yoga, bhakti yoga. So in each of these yogas, he explained very systematically. For example, there is a lot of science involved in the karma yoga. So if you do some actions, and let's say you do expect some fruits of that action, you will suffer or enjoy that fruits, depending on your action. For example, you do good work, you get good result, and if you do bad things, that's a systematic science process. But it also explains like how to approach me. If you give the results of the work to Krishna, then you won't be affected by the change. So there is a science involved in the way how we see it. If you actually see it, for example, let's say if you're doing some work and you don't think about the action, your peace of mind, you don't get any anxiety and all these things. So you actually experience yourself. But if you think about the result, you always say, hey, I'm getting a good thing, or I'm getting maybe, you always feel anxiety. That's the science involved, right?
Yeah. Let me tell you one thing. In chapter 13, Lord Krishna himself has said, you don't do anything. It is my energy, my Maya is working everywhere. And you are just thinking that I am doing it. There's nothing you are doing it actually. So how can you do a good work? How can you do a bad work? How can you go and attend? Come here.
I think we'll take it offline. I know the answer to that. I know where you are coming from. But we'll take it offline, because while there can be counter views to what you said. Definitely.
Well, definitely there is counter.
And then
why should I be coming here?
No. In the sense, in the sense, Narendra ji, that we'll take it offline. It's okay. It's okay. Other questions? Other comments? Yes, Tarun ji.
I have a different question.
Please. Welcome.
So, Prabhuji, like Arjuna has a friend relationship with Krishna, yeah. So is it like every entity, every living entity has a unique relation, and that relation lasts eternally? Is something like that mentioned in the scriptures?
Yes. It's said in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, liberation means to be established in one's own position of service to Krishna. Each and every jiva has a relationship with Krishna, but they are broadly in 5 categories, primary categories, and 7 secondary categories. So it's all there in Nectar of Devotion. Yes, that is eternal. So again, Srila Prabhupada writes in the preface to the Srimad Bhagavatam that while there are 5 different primary relationships with Krishna, and if you analytically study, then the Madhurya relationship with Krishna, or the conjugal relationship with Krishna, is highest. But the beauty is that each other relationships with Krishna, for example, if a devotee is in friendly relationship with Krishna or Sakhyaras. He thinks my relationship with Krishna is best. So in that sense, Krishna is perfect in exhibiting his relationship, but this is more from an analytical study of the relationships. So, but every soul has a unique relationship with Krishna. And here Krishna doesn't mean Krishna directly, it can be Narasimha, it can be Lord Ram. So, because when we define Krishna, in the next semester, we are going to do Nectar of Devotion. And we'll discuss at length the verse Anyabhilashita Shunyam, Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam, Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. What does Krishna mean? Who's Krishna? So when we discuss, we see that when you say relationship with Krishna, it can mean many of the other avatars of Krishna. For example, Hanuman, he can see his vision of Krishna is in the form of Lord Ram. And that's what he likes to see. And he can't see anything else. So every soul in that sense also has not only unique relationship with Krishna. When you say Krishna, it doesn't just mean the two-handed form of Krishna holding a flute in Vrindavan. It can be other forms of Krishna also. So in that sense, there are countless forms of Krishna, and every jiva has a relationship with Krishna. Ultimately, all the avatars are Krishna, are one and the same with Krishna.
I'm just wondering, like every living entity is bound to have like single relation eternally, or I was trying to find an answer for that.
Yes, eternally. That is what the acharyas say. And as we do sadhana, initially there is a small point though. When we perform sadhana, initially everybody is chanting the same rounds, right? Yeah. Everybody in the sadhana stage, it's not apparent. But when we advance through sadhana and come to the level of just on the Raganuga Bhakti, from Vaidhi Bhakti to Raganuga, when you come, then the devotee automatically likes to serve Krishna in a particular way. And that becomes more and more prominent. And so that establishes our rasa with Krishna. It's a advanced science. Again, Nectar of Devotion is a beautiful book. It will clear many of these intricate questions you have.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
And we will read in the next semester. So
thank you.
Yes.
What is impersonal Brahman means?
Krishna is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as having three aspects. Vadanti tat tattvavidas, tattvam yajnanam advayam, brahmeti paramatmeti, bhagavan iti shabdyate. So it is there in the first canto, second chapter, if you want to look it up. So Krishna can be understood based on our own approach to him. Ye yathamam prapadyante tams tataiva bhajamyaham. Krishna says in the fourth chapter that as one surrenders, I reward them accordingly. So if person is following the path of jnana, then he realizes God as somebody who is formless, who is infinite, who is light, who is peace. That's the way you realize Krishna, based on the one's path. Somebody may realize as Paramatma, somebody may realize as Bhagavan. But it is the same Krishna. The beauty is, Bhagavatam says, uses the word Advayam. If we can look up that verse here, now that we are on here, why don't we kind of take a look at here? Which one, Prabhu?
1 to 11.
Yes, thank you. 161. Thank you, Mahesh Prabhu. Page 161, and we can see the last verse, 1211. So, vadanti tat tattvavidas, tattvam yajnanam advayam, brahmeti paramatmeti, bhagavaniti shabdyate. If you see the translation, it is said, learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance, Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Please understand, it doesn't mean that Krishna has become three, or Krishna has split up himself into something. No, it is Advaya means non-dual. That the same Krishna is perceived in different way based on how you look at him. A simple example I can give. For example, there is a person, an individual. How do you look at that person? He can be a father to somebody. He is a son of somebody. He is an employee of somebody. He is customer of somebody, he's a husband of somebody, he's a fan of some sport. One person can have so many denominations in just conditioned existence. What to speak of Krishna? How many aspects, infinite aspects are there for Krishna? But the transcendentalists, they are broadly divided into three categories. And based on how you approach Krishna, you see Krishna.
So that means...
you need to use the mic, I'm sorry.
That means, let's say if the impersonal Brahman spirit exists in everywhere in the universe, we call effulgence. That effulgence spirit is basically conceived by by people who seek in that way. So I have a question. So in that case, in general, people who thinks that God is does not have any form. If they see as a God is formless, so do you think so those people fall in that category?
If I understand your question, you're saying that those who see God as formless fall in the category of Brahman realization?
Yeah, Brahman realization. For example, you see, I've taken an example of Muslim religion, okay, Islamic religion, right? So they don't, do any, worship of idols. So how they will be treated as, from your view?
I don't know my view and I don't know Bhagavad Gita's view, but given the fact that if they see the God or Allah as all pervading, obviously it is Brahman, right?
Yes, but the thing is, the difference here is what is the significance of this realization? Is it not? Everybody thinks it's God is everywhere, but you have to realize it. What is that realization significance?
Well, Krishna is present as Brahman, effulgence everywhere, and also as Paramatma. When you realize God is everywhere, it can also mean Paramatma, because Krishna is there as Paramatma in everybody's heart.
Mm-hmm.
And he is present in every molecule.
Mm-hmm.
He is present as Paramatma, his localized feature.
Yeah.
So you can realize, when you mean perceiving God everywhere, it can mean either the Paramatma or the Brahman feature.
Okay.
Either could be. Based on one's yoga. If you are in the Dhyana yoga, then you realize God as Paramatma. But if you are in the Jnana, then you just realize God as Brahman.
Okay.
But
so can somebody render devotional service to the impersonal Brahman?
No. Because it is said in Chaitanya Charitamrita
Mm-hmm.
that in the impersonal realization, there is no question of service. If you love somebody
Mm-hmm.
who is a relation because he has a form, right?
Yes, but you think God is everywhere, and just do realize, okay, and you have, that's what I'm asking that question. You have to have that realization of that. What is that realization? Because God is everywhere. That is a spirit. Impersonal Brahman is a spirit, right? You have to realize it. So that means you are actually realizing. By realizing it, you are actually servicing it.
No, realizing and service are two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Krishna says in the 18th chapter, 54, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shoshati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. So he says Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, for one who is realized Brahman, and Prasannatma means who is satisfied, who is happy. Na shoshati na kankshati means he is neither lamenting nor he is hankering. In that state of mind, mad bhaktim lavate param, you get my bhakti. So in one sense, Brahman realization is a prerequisite to get bhakti.
Mm-hmm.
But in another sense, bhakti is independent. You don't need any Brahman realization to serve Krishna. As long as you have realized Krishna. You're getting that point?
Yes. But,
Sir, one point I want to say here. In chapter 12, it is clearly written there are two types of
Right.
services.
Correct.
And one is one who worship the impersonal Brahman. And the method is generally just you go and serve everybody in the world. And there are, say for example, Teresa, Mother Teresa, what I understood from her, that was her goal, to serve everybody so that she can realize God. So that's one method.
Well, Krishna says also in the 5th chapter that one who sees the soul as a part and parcel of all the living entities and is well-wisher. So well-wisher can mean many things. So yes, that's Hari Guru Prabhu had a comment.
No, my only comment was that stating you're referring to 12.3 and 12.3 or 12.4, right?
Right. We can read up that.
So he has only mentioned the two paths, but not necessarily they are equal. No Acharya. No. Had it been equal, then he wouldn't have said the fifth verse in 12th chapter where he says Klesho adhikatarastesham avyaktasaktasya. So if they were equal, then why would one path be more troublesome and cumbersome to follow than another path? The reason is because it is unnatural, right? See, Krishna has also stated in the 2nd chapter, before he even starts speaking Bhagavad Gita, that neither have all these kings have not existed. So he has already established the fact, the eternality of the living entity. And when you have a living entity, individual, so you know that there is an individual unit of consciousness, right? So it has some attributes, some form, shape, likes, dislikes, proclivities, tendencies, whatever you want to attribute it. It's a unit. So that unit is not going to go anywhere, right? You're just, Brahman realization only means you're ignoring the unit. You're ignoring acknowledge the fact that there is a quantifiable unit of consciousness, right? You're only, as we started at the beginning of the lecture, it only means negation of material distress. Na sochati, na kankshati. It doesn't mean a positive engagement, right? This world is commonly known as a plane of exploitation. Brahman realization is a plane of renunciation. But Bhakti Yoga is the plane of dedication, where there is true service and true satisfaction of one's inner identity. Actually, that's by definition, that's what constitutional position means, right? So, the reason why Krishna says that those two paths is because this has also been touched in the lecture, where Prabhuji has said that on the one side there is a driving factor for seeking positive engagement, and on the other side there is a frustration based on the failures of this world. So the impersonal realization is meant to awaken that kind of a frustration to drive towards a positive engagement. It doesn't mean, so it's going to lead you to Bhagwan realization, but it's an indirect method. And that's what the statement just said, that in one sense Brahman realization is a prerequisite, but in another sense it is Bhakti is independent of that also. So they have been mentioned in the sense that it's a prerequisite, and also Bhakti is independent of that, right?
Yes, that's right. So,
but impersonal Brahman is also spirit himself. When we say, individual soul or is a spirit himself, he does not, for example, he is individual, but we don't know. I mean, he may be having spiritual body there, but he is not having any body. He is only different from the material body. So at least here, you don't have any shape, or you are different from the material body. So impersonal Brahman is also, if you look at it, he is a spirit himself. If you look at effulgence.
Yeah, the reason it is called impersonal is because of your inability to recognize the personality behind the basis of that light, right? It's the body luster of Krishna.
Yeah.
You are only looking at the luster, but you cannot penetrate beyond that, right?
Yeah, that's because you cannot penetrate, because it's written in Bhagavad Gita that it's 3 forms of realization. But as a person, as a practical person, you cannot realize it unless you are very good, absolute truth realization, because where you want to, deep into that. But as a normal person, when you trust in God, you think there is a higher energy or a spirit, where impersonal Brahman is the higher authority, which exists in everywhere. So you surrender to that. But beyond that, you there is no way. I mean, for a normal person, how you can understand it?
Yeah.
So I think, can we open Bhagavad Gita chapter 12, please? It's on page 541 for those who are still 541. Text 1. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be most perfect, those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? Text 2. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be most perfect. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In answer to Arjuna's question, Krishna clearly says that he who concentrates upon his personal form and who worships him with faith and devotion is to be considered most perfect in yoga. For one in such Krishna consciousness, there are no material activities because everything is done for Krishna. A pure devotee is constantly engaged. Sometimes he chants, sometimes he hears or reads books about Krishna, or sometimes he cooks prasadam or goes to marketplace to purchase something for Krishna, or sometimes he washes the temple or the dishes. Whatever he does not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to Krishna. Such action is in full samadhi. Text 3 and 4. But those who fully worship the unmanifest, that which lies between, beyond the perception of senses, the all-pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed and immovable, the impersonal conception of absolute truth, by controlling various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such persons engaged in the welfare of all at last achieve me. So while you are right about serving everybody, here the word is welfare for all, rather than welfare can take on many forms. Let's read the purport, and then let's read the 5th verse in the. Yeah. But let's complete. Let's complete. Then we'll purport. Those who do not directly worship the Supreme Godhead Krishna, but who attempt to achieve the same goal by an indirect process, also ultimately achieve the same goal, Sri Krishna. After many, many births, the man of wisdom seeks refuge in me, knowing that Vasudeva is all in all. When a person comes to full knowledge after many births, he surrenders onto Krishna. If one approaches the Godhead by the method mentioned in this verse, he has to control his senses, render service to everyone, and engage in the welfare of all beings. It is also inferred that one has to approach Krishna, otherwise there is no perfect realization. That's another important point here. Often there is much penance involved before one has to fully surrender onto him. In order to perceive the super soul within the individual soul, one has to cease all the sensual activities of seeing, hearing, tasting, working, etc. Then one comes to understand that the Supreme Soul is present everywhere. Realizing this, one envies no living entity, and he sees no difference between man and animal because he sees the soul only, not the outer covering. But for the common man, this method of impersonal realization is very difficult. Text 5. How are we doing on time here? We have 15 minutes. Kleshodikaras tesham avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkam dehavadbhir avapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. Purport. The group of transcendentalists who follow the path of inconceivable, unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord are called Jnana Yogis. And persons who are in full consciousness engaged in devotional service to the Lord are called Bhakti Yogis. Now here the difference between Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga is definitely expressed. The process of Jnana Yoga, although ultimately bringing one to the same goal, is very troublesome, whereas the path of Bhakti Yoga, the process of being in direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is easier and natural for the embodied souls. The individual soul is embodied since time immemorial. It's very difficult for him to simply theoretically understand that he is not the body. Therefore, Bhakti Yogi accepts the deity of Krishna as worshipable because there is some bodily conception fixed in the mind which can be thus applied. Of course, worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form within the temple is not idol worship. There is evidence in the Vedic literature that worship may be saguna or nirguna of the Supreme possessing or not possessing attributes. Worship of the deity in the temple is saguna worship, for the Lord is represented by material qualities, but the form of the Lord, though represented by material qualities such as stone, wood, or oil paint, is not actually material. That is the absolute nature of the Supreme Lord. So here if we can see, even those, we understand two things, and that everybody agrees, that even those who are on the path of impersonal realization ultimately have to come to Krishna to completely understand Krishna, the personal form of Krishna. So, and Krishna says in the 5th chapter that performing the impersonal aspect or trying to achieve the impersonal aspect of the Lord is very difficult for the embodied soul. So let's read a little bit more and we'll complete this purport and then we can take some questions. A crude example may be given herein. We may find some mailboxes on the street, and if we post our letters in those boxes, they will naturally go to their destination without difficulty. But any old box or an imitation which we may find somewhere but which is not authorized by the post office will not do the work. Similarly, God has the authorized representation in the deity form, which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. God will accept through that form. The Lord is omnipotent, all-powerful, and therefore by his incarnation as Archa Vigraha, he can accept the services of the devotee, just to make it convenient for the man in the conditioned life. So for a devotee, there is no difficulty in approaching the Supreme immediately and directly, but for those who are following the impersonal way to achieve spiritual realization, the path is difficult. They have to understand, please read this statement very carefully and then we'll know. They have to understand the unmanifested representation of the Supreme through such Vedic literatures as Upanishads, and they have to learn the language, understand the non-perceptual feelings, realize all these processes. This is not very easy for common man. A person in Krishna consciousness engaged in devotional service, simply by the guidance of bona fide spiritual master, simply by offering regulative obeisances to the deity, simply by hearing the glories of the Lord, and simply by taking the remnants of the foodstuff offered to the Lord, realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead very easily. So this is clear. I mean, the thing is that both lead, ultimately they may lead to the same path, but directly approaching Krishna is much easier for the conditioned soul, because I am an embodied being. I can understand and relate to Krishna easily. I have two hands, Krishna has two hands. I have a head, he has a head. So, but when you are talking of impersonal, then you have to really, as Srila Prabhupada writes, you have to go beyond the frame of mind to understand something impersonal, and then which ultimately leads to personal realization. So why not directly take the process of personal realization instead of unlearning something and then learning something? Unlearning that, I'm not this body, I'm not this material matter, then God is impersonal. And then when we actually come to the impersonal form, we realize, no, God is personal. Actually, there is beyond something impersonal. So this is a direct process. That's why Krishna says, you can offer food to Krishna. It's a much more direct connection. Yes, please go ahead.
I'll just add on to that point. Some acharyas have also commented that at last achieve me can be understood in two ways, right? One is what we just discussed, is that it will eventually, there will be enough frustration pent up that you will seek for a positive engagement, because negating something is not a stable position. One side, right? That's what we discussed. The other thing is, based on the verse that we just discussed about 1 to 11, the same non-dual personality, Krishna, is perceived differently. From that point of view, all realizations are his realization. So that also one can say. So different mark, different processes can award you different realization. But nowhere it is said that all these realizations are on equal level, right? Had that been the case, then why is there a distinction between realizations?
Right.
So that verse 1 to 11 states the different destinations for different paths. This verse 3, verse 2, verse 3 and verse 4 combined, they are saying, you follow in this way, you will reach there. You follow in that way, you will reach this place. But they are all my realizations. From that point of view also, Krishna is saying, they all are achieving me only, but in different forms.
Yeah.
That is the unsaid part over there. Right?
Nice point. And
there's one more point I want to add here. I think I've read somewhere, and I'm not very good in remembering things. The reason why the other path is very difficult is because of the ego. See, when you go and serve anybody else, I served him. He claims his reward for his work. So that ego doesn't go away easily, and you have to be humble to the ground in order to kill that ego, and that is why it is very difficult to. The second path is difficult.
Thank you for. I had a train of thought. I forgot. Anyway, when I remember, I'll bring it up. Other questions? Other comments?
I just want to have one point is coming into my mind, and I just want to mention it, but it may not be. My Guruji told me that there are 4 forms of God instead of 3, what just we read in the stoka. And he says, Om Tat Sat Asat. And the Asat, where the 3 are whatever the mention is in scriptures, that is, those are 3. The 4th one he says, ki Asat, the untruth, is also a form of God. The whole world, whatever you see, it is a Vishwa Roop of God.
Thank you for sharing that. Yes, Ethan Pro.
Prabhu, in the beginning of our class you mentioned like satisfaction of mind is achieved by rendering the service to Krishna. But my mind when is only ready to render service who is superior or who is controller, real controller. But in everyday life it's very hard to have faith like Krishna is a controller. Because whenever I go, okay, this might be controlled by some other people, might be is controlled by me, or it happens by nature. So in everyday life, how can we see it's controlled by the God? Everything happens.
May not see it initially, because as Narendra was telling, there is also a sense of false ego. Initially, one may not see the hand of God everywhere, but as we advance, because Krishna says in the Gita, Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mai pashyati, and that verse comes in 5th chapter, I believe. Which means that unless we go to a certain level of yoga, you cannot actually see Krishna everywhere. But having said that, at least that faith is good enough to pull along. For a person who is not believer or who is an atheist, when he is met with failures and daunting situations, they deepen their faith that there is no God. But at least for a devotee, they think that I've tried this hard and then the results are not coming out to what I expected. Maybe Krishna doesn't want it. So, in one sense, that faith will help. Second thing is, there is that aspect of controller always there. If you truly see around, everything is controlled. But who is the controller? Krishna is the controller, whether you like it or not. So, as one progresses in yoga, then one definitely can see Krishna everywhere. Initially, just you can see Krishna maybe as a all-pervading super soul, but later, if you are one is very in you can say in higher stages of loving Krishna, you actually see the two-handed form of Shyam Sundar everywhere, like Mahaprabhu saw. He didn't see Paramatma, he didn't see Brahman. He just saw that where he said, wherever I see that beautiful boy of Vrindavan standing on the flute. So, based on one's realization, you can see Krishna. Initially, if you don't see, then don't worry too much, because Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that don't try to see Krishna, but act in a way that Krishna wants to see you. And so we act in a way where we attract the mercy of Krishna, and he would appear before us. So, but otherwise, if you see on a day-to-day basis, there are enough incidents that happening that there is definitely a controller.
Yes, but mind doesn't want to see that.
It's okay. It's okay. Just keep doing your service. That's fine. That's the way mind is. Mind doesn't want to give up its sense of independence. But keep up your sadhana, keep up your service like you are doing. And eventually, it will happen, guaranteed.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
There is no doubt about it. It is said, Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna is more eager to see us than we care to see him or go back to him. So it is just a matter of time. And as we discussed earlier, there is no set formula. There is no 5-year plan with Krishna. I chant for 5 years and then I can see Krishna. Make sense? Yeah. Thank you. Any other question, comments?
I just want to add some comments.
Please. Yeah. It's definitely okay. Comments are welcome.
Hare Krishna. The love for Krishna has to be developed. That means we will remember Krishna. Otherwise, there is always a forgetfulness. So the process, what we are doing right now, is association of devotees. So we will build up the relation with Krishna with love when we are more in the association. So how is that? Oh, when did I get that love? We never know how it comes. So it's basically, gradual love comes in. So we never know when it comes. So the only thing we need to do is to be in the association of devotees. So that is how we will develop faith, and then the forgetfulness totally goes away, and we'll start remembering Krishna. When we remember Krishna, then we'll know, Bhoktaram Yagnatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That will come. Otherwise, there is no way we can understand. So, otherwise, I am there. So when I am there is no Krishna. So that has to go.
Nice.
So,
thank you. Very nice point. That is the last comment, because after that we have to go for the arti. Yes, go ahead.
So, but when you believe in God, right? So that means you see everything is created by God. So that is also a Jnana Yoga. So one of the knowledge. So that means whenever you working on the going outward. So when you have that God realization, you also see that, right? Why we need to have a separate thing. For example, like if you are trust in God, you will see everything is created by God. So that is an equal representation of your or equal thinking. Say this is where God is working.
Well, okay, I see where you're coming from, but assumption, trust, not necessarily equals to vision. Just having a faith is not necessarily equal to seeing God, because if we say I am seeing God, but God should show Himself. Otherwise, what can we see, right? So there are two different things, and probably if you read Bhagavad Gita in the first few chapters.
But that depends on how your faith is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Based on our faith and our desire to see, to that extent you can see God. Yeah, absolutely. Nice point.
I got it.
Any other points here?
No, that's
all right. Thank you. You are holding the mic ready to talk. I thought you had more points. No, don't worry about it. That's okay. Other questions? Other comments? Maybe there's one last. Right. Thank you. So, actually, Srila Rupa Goswami writes that that the perfection in devotional service happens two ways. That one is by grace of Krishna and one is by one's own endeavor. And the grace of Krishna can always come, but Srila Prabhupada writes that one shouldn't wait for grace of Krishna. One should actually endeavor to serve him and to see him, not slack in one's effort to serve Krishna. Because and though there is a provision that one becomes perfect by mercy of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada recommends that one shouldn't wait, because Krishna is not you're not challenging Krishna. There is a subtle challenge when you say, I'm waiting for grace. Okay, show me grace, I'll wait. I'm patient, but I'll wait. You can't challenge Krishna. It's a subtle way of challenging Krishna. But when you go all the way out to humble yourself and serve Krishna, then your endeavor actually will make Krishna more favorable to you. And when he gives your grace, it's up to him. Right. Right. Ye yathamam prapadyante. So the point is that there is a free will. Please understand, waiting for grace doesn't mean that I'm robot programmed and I'll just wait for X amount of time. It is I have a jiva, and as Hariguru Prabhu was mentioning that we are a unit of consciousness, and that unit of consciousness has some free will, not like will of Krishna, but at least some free will, because it partake that qualities of Krishna. And when one exerts that free will to serve Krishna, then it becomes easier to get the grace of Krishna. Thank you very, very much. So the next portion or the program is we have Aarti, and then after that Prasadam. Thank you. Please lead. Harijan, keep control. Please lead. Thank you very much for coming.
Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kosho Bhakiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kosho Janavi Tatavane Jagamanaloba Janavitatabani Jagamanaloba Dakinenitai Chan Vame Gadadhara Kiva Dakinenitai Chan Vame Gadadhara Nikataya Dvaita Shrini Vasa Chatradhara Nikataya Dvaita Shrini Vasa Chatradhara Vashi Ache Gora Chan Ratna Simhasane Kiva Vashi Ache Gora Chan Ratna Simhasane Arati Kore no Brahma Adi Devagane Arati Kore no Brahma Adi Devagane Narahari Adi Kori Chamara Dulhaya Kiva Narahari Adi Kori Chamara Dulhaya Sanjaya Mukunda Bhashu Goshadigaya Sanjaya Mukunda Bhashu Goshadigaya Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Kiva Shanka Baje Ganta Baje Baje Karatala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Madhura Mridanga Baje Paramarasala Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Kiva Bahu Koti Chandrajini Vadana Ujvala Gala Dese Vanamala Kore Jalamala Gala Dese Vanamala Kore Jalamala Shiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada Kiva Shuka Narada Preme Gada Gada Bhakti Vinodha Deke Gorara Sampada Bhakti Vinodha Deke Gorara Sampada Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kashobha Kiva Jaya Gaura Chande Arati Kashobha Janavi Tatabane Jagamana Lobha Janavi Tatabane Jagamana Lobha Gaurangira Roti Kashobha Jaga Janamana Lobha Gaurangira Roti Kashobha Jaga Gaurangira Roti Kashobha Jaga Janamana Lobha Gaurangira Roti Kashobha Jaga Janamana Lobha शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 बाजे शंका बाजे घंटा बाजे माधुर 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 नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्य गौर हरि बोल। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Nitai Gauranga, 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 Shri Gaura Hari, 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 Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Satchinandana Gaura Hari. Nadiya Vihari Shri Gaura Hari, 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 Gaura 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 Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Gaura 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 Hari, Gaura 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 Hari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Mahaprabhu, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe, Jaya Radha Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe, Jaya Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe, Jaya Radha Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, 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 Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Vishnupada परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। जयों विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की। श्री वृंदावन धाम की, मथुरा धाम की, मायापुर नवदीप धाम की, अयोध्या धाम की, जगन्नाथपुरी क्षेत्र की, गंगा मई यमुना मई की, तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की, ग्रंथरा श्रीमद् भागवतम की, ट्रांसेंडेंटल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, सत्यला एकादशी की, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Namaste Narasimhaya, Prahlada Lada Daine, Hiranyakashipur Vaksahai, Hiranyakashipur Vaksahai, Shilatankana Kalaye, Shilatankana Kalaye, Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha, Narsimha Parato Narsimha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsimha, Baye Narsimha, Hrudaye Narsimha, Baye Narsimha, Hrudaye Narsimha, Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapadye, Singamadim Sharanam Prapadye, Tabakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shungam, Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhangam, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Re, Jai Jagadisha Re, Jai Jagadisha Re, Tavakara Kamalavare Nakam Adbhuta Shringam, Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubhangam, Keshavadrita Narari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Re, Jai Jagadisha Re, Jai Jagadisha Re, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa, Jai Jagadisha Hare, Jai Jai Jagadish Hare, Jai Jaganesh Hare. Jaya Narsingadev, 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 Jaya Narsingadev, Singadev, Narsingadev, Narsingadev, Jaya Narsingadev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Nitya Gaura Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Nitya Gaura Hari Bo. नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, प्रहलाद महाराज की जय, हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे.
Hare Krishna, everybody. I thank you all for coming tonight for the Bhagavad Gita class, and we are very thankful to His Grace Srivas Pandit Prabhu for giving tonight's lecture. So please give him a loud Hari Bol. And Prabhuji, what's your name, Prabhu? Prabhuji, what's your name? Yeah, and we are thankful to Balram Das, Prasad Das Prabhu for leading tonight's Narsimadev Kirtan. So this loud chant a loud Hari Bol to him. Hari Bol. So as you know, this is a very historic week for ISV. Many of the people are going to India. Vaisheshika Prabhu has already left. And other people like Ramanand Saka Prabhu, Srivas Pandit Prabhu, and other people are leaving for India for the first ISV Yatra to Mayapur. So we want to give them our best wishes by chanting Hari Bol 3 times loudly. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! And we also pray to them that they pray for us on, they pray to the Lordships on our behalf, so that we can all exceed in our devotional service and become render loyal service to Sri Sri Radha Madan Mohan Narsimadev and Mahaprabhu. Any newcomers here for the first time tonight? Yeah. There's a mic there. So please introduce yourself and just let us know your name.
Hi, my name is Bilal. Bilal. Mm-hmm. I'm from India.
Okay.
My parents actually, they are from India, and actually my grandparents, they follow the Hindu religion, and then we converted towards Muslim. So I'm just visiting with my friend here. So I never been in a temple in my life. So this is the first time.
Okay. We welcome you here for the.
Yeah.
We are glad to have you here. So you are Madhukar?
Yeah, we are working together. So
okay.
basically.
Yeah, please come more often if you like it. If you like the program, you can come more often here.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
And Prabhuji, can you please?
Yeah, already gave.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So tonight's prasadam was cooked by Yashoda Kumar Prabhu and Nitya Navina Mataji. So let's start. And if anybody has any another announcements to make, so if not, then we'll go to the prasadam prayer and then we can have prasadam after that. Sharira vidya jal jodendriya tahe kal jiva phale vishaya sagare taro madhye jivayoti lobo mai sudharmati ताके जेटा कठिन संसारे कृष्ण बड़ा दयामय करिबारे जीव जाय स्वप्रसादन दिलबाय शयनामृत पावो राधा कृष्ण गुण गावो प्रेमे दाको श्री चैतन्य नीताय एक दिन शांति पूरे प्रभु अद्वैतेरा घरे দুই প্রভু ভোজনে ভোষিল সাকরি অশ্বদান প্রভু বলে ভক্তগণ এইষা কৃষ্ণ আস্বাদিল হেন শাকস্বধানে কৃষ্ণ প্রেম ऐसे মনে সেই প্রেমে করো অশ্বদান জড় বুদ্ধি পরিহারি প্রসাদ ভোজন করি हरि हरि बोलो सर्वजन भैरे सची रंगने खाबू माधवेंद्र पुरी प्रभु प्रसादन कोरे न भोजन खाइते खाइते तारा आइलो प्रेम सुदुर्बार बोले सुनो सन्यासी रगन मोच घंट फूल बादी दाली दलना चचादी सची माता कोरिलो रोंदन तार शुद्ध भक्ति हेरी भोजन कोरिलो हरी सुधा समाये अन्न व्यंजन योगे योगी पाई जाहा भोगे आज हो बेताहा हरि बोली खाओ सबे भाई कृष्णेरा प्रसादन त्रिजगत कोरे धन्य त्रिपुरारी नाचे जहाँ पाई त्रिपुरारी नाचे जहाँ पाई महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्राह्मणे वैष्णवे स्वल्प पुण्यावितं राजन् विश्वासो निवजायते प्रसादे सर्व दुःखानां अनिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्न चेतसो यस्यु बुद्धि पर्यवतिष्ठस्ते भगवत श्री महाप्रसाद की जय। बर्हा पीडां नटवर वपु कर्णयो कर्णिकारं बिभ्राद्वाशा कनककपिशं वैजयन्तीं च मालं रन्ध्रां येनोरधरसुदया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दैर्वृन्दारण्यं सपदरमणं प्रविशाद्गीतकीर्तिः तव कथामृतां ताप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जना कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन कला पातो जनी भ्राजिता सद्भक्तावली हंस चक्र मधुपा श्रेणी विहारास्पदा कर्णानंदी कला ध्वनिर्वहतु मे जीवामरु प्रांगणे श्री चैतन्य दयानिधे कवलसार लीला सुधा स्वर्धुनी हेलो दुनिता खेधया विशदया प्रोन्मिला दामोदया साम्यच्श्रविवाधया रसदया चित्तार्पितोन्मादया शाश्वत भक्ति विनोदया समदया माधुर्य मर्यादया Shri Chaitanya Dayanide Tava Daya Bhuyadamandodaya Shri Chaitanya Dayanide Tava Daya Bhuyadamandodaya. Please come and take prasadam. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.